name is Teresita Melancholy, sister, and today we're reading Saturnastra Rimaru. This is chapter 9, part 1, the Melancholy. The day started for Rimaru pretty much the same as the last. Since he stopped sleeping, all the day seemed like a long stream of nothingness, and since he had been forced to kill his sweet vampire friend, his eyes had lost all of their luster. And ever since settling in Aragon, he tried to fill the empty void that had become his life with just about any activity he could come up with. If he was not singing, he was dancing. If not dancing, he was doing charity work. And when he could not find an old lady to help, he was feeding stray kittens. And the douchebag in the class had been the last drop, and that the Rimaru had not bothered to go outside to do anything. And there was a violence growing inside of him, and going to Saturnastra was the biggest mistake of his life, or so he fancied, and he felt he was better off in his little isolated world, with his brothers and sister only dealing with the familiar Aryan that shared a similar funk. And he wrote a quick note to his brother Marduk. It simply read, "I can't take this anymore." The only thing that had brought him to Saturnastra was his sweet vampire friend, and his little sugar plum rice, but that fool, he made her kill her. And with his thought in mind, Rimaru packed up his entire domicile, and he took the house, the grass, and even the little bugs. When Amelius passed by Rimaru's house on an errand, he was surprised to see the entire place was gone. And he caught Rimaru just as the fellow was making his way towards the train station. And Amelius asked Rimaru, "Where are you going?" "Why do you ask, if you would indulge me?" asked Rimaru caustically. "There is a familiar look on your face, and I was trying to see if I could stop you," said Amelius. "Stop me from doing what?" asked Rimaru. "We have no familiar relationship, and what does it matter to you if I leave and never return?" "Oh, if that is what you're up to, then carry on," said Amelius. "What do you think I was going to do?" asked Rimaru. "Well, back in my Artsy days, there was a strange little skinny fellow, and his squadmates were always bothering him, and one day they went too far by killing and tricking him into eating his pet parakeet, and when he found out about the trick, he was never seen again, till recently," said Amelius. "Ah, you mean he was the tempura serial killer that was hung the other day," said Rimaru, remembering. "Yep, he had the same look as you, the look of someone who just wants to see the world burn," said Amelius. "And I don't know why you're leaving. And I know this is a bit obvious, but there are good people and bad people, and if you focus just on the bad, you will paint everything and everyone around you with the same colors. I don't know, I just have bad luck of only running into bad people. And I don't have my brother's patience to try to change them, and when all I want is for them not to exist in this world anymore," said Rimaru. "That is your problem. You're too negative, and if you think only negative thoughts, then you will draw bad luck towards you. Try a positive outlook in life, and then you will see how everything works out, said Amelius. That's like toxic positivity 101 that he's spouting, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what's all to say?
"You sound just like a fortune cookie," said Rimaru. "You got that right. I will return to my errands unless you contaminate me with your filth," said Amelius. He stopped a moment and then he said, "Barbara wanted me to invite you to dinner, and she wanted some extra dance lessons, and you're invited to stop by if it pleases you." Amelius then continued along his way, and Rimaru looked towards the train station, and then he looked in the direction of Amelius' house. If he went towards the train station, he could already picture his life, just spending his time isolated, growing more angry at everything and everyone. Rimaru did not want such a fate. In his ideal scenario, he wanted to go on cookie adventures with different fellows, solving crimes or whatever he felt like. And his friends would be of all kinds, but they would respect one another's differences. Truth be told, Rimaru wanted to travel with his siblings, but since they were all so busy, he did not want to bother them. In the end, Rimaru's stomach decided for him, and Barbara was making her famous pork dumplings, and she was a maiden who loved pork, and she was always looking to improve each of her recipes. And to make her dumplings, she shredded the pork first and fried them by just seasoning them with salt, and then she placed the pork inside the dumplings along with a slice of red bell pepper before cooking them with steam. And the bread or dumpling was made with spinach and whole wheat. And finally, she topped the bread with a pint of garlic. And these dumplings were eaten with black beans, rice, and banana. And the entire scent of pork alone was enough to summon Rimaru to the window. Barbara looked outside the open window of her kitchen, and she noticed a very hungry Rimaru. It was like, food. Rimaru from time to time would appear at people's windows windows whenever they were cooking something he liked. And the folks always fed him because he would pay them, and for that reason many houses always cooked a little extra just in case a very, very hungry Rimaru came and passed by. And Barbara had fed Rimaru once or twice, but she had refused to take the money. And even when he hid the money in odd places, she would always return it. Not Amish, though. If Amish found the hidden change in his room, he would keep it, assuming that his brother had left it for his own personal usage. And Barbara eventually noticed what was happening when Amish increased his moderate spending, and she eventually got Rimaru to stop when she started returning the money that Amish spent. And Rimaru sat in the dining room waiting for his meal, and he had his usual dogged expression. And Barbara, assuming that all stars were divas, she did not pay attention to Rimaru's moodiness. And she was just the type of person who always mechanically fed whatever hungry person she ran into. And there was a fellow bum who always went to Barbara for meals, and she always made extra food because she knew he shared it with his wife and daughter who were also homeless. And today Barbara was also feeling somewhat melancholy. And she had heard that a nameless fellow had been hung himself in desperation, and she would have offered him shelter, but she felt that feeding the fellow and giving him was enough. And she was also not too keen on having strangers in her house, and she was the type of person who grew apprehensive whenever there was an unknown element she couldn't control. Time?
17 minutes.
From time to time, she would check to see if Rimaru was still where she left him, and Amelius came by later, and he was pleased to see that Rimaru had taken up on his offer. And when he arrived, Rimaru was in the middle of sculpting something with clay, and Amelius asked with a bored curiosity, "What are you making?" "A face for a robot," said Rimaru. "Oh, like that automaton," said Amelius. "Yes and no. When done properly, a robot can be a real boy, and a pega is a real boy even if he cannot reproduce like humans do. But he can still give life to a real boy of his own making," explained Rimaru. "Good for him," said Amelius, not understanding a word of that dribble. As Rimaru progressed, Amelius commented, "The face looks a little sad. Why don't you give it a smile?" Rimaru squeezed the clay into his fist, and then he said, "This won't do." "You don't need to destroy your work. It was only a small thing you needed to fix," said Amelius. Rimaru rested his head on the table, and Amelius patted Rimaru's head as he did when he comforted his own manic depressed twin. And as he did, Amelius couldn't help but ponder if Amish had finally found his happiness. Rimaru then jerked his head up, and it was a habit he had inherited from his mother, and she would always jerk her head up when she was possessed by a new idea. So he was, "Huh?"
Oh yeah, what color is Squirrel's outfit?
It's like it's completely black.
Black, got it.
Yeah, but don't make it too black that it blends into his skin. Just make it like black is blue.
Got it. And the bow?
And the ribbon, in order to stand up, make it like a lighter, like a very slightly lighter shade or dark blue.
Okay.
And also match that tone for the sleeves and the buttons.
Understood.
Yeah, just the cuff for the sleeves.
Alright.
It was a bit of a habit she had inherited from his mother, and she would always, smiling, Rimaru said, "Yes, I got it. Good for you," said Barbara, bringing in the food. While they ate, Barbara made a bit of small talk with Rimaru, and she always found amusing to speak with the fellow. Mainly it was because he always said the strangest thing. So she started us thus. "So what did you get?" "Oh, nothing much. I just had a nice idea, so it might not be the same, but it would at least bring me happiness. I'm so sick, at least I hope. And it might take a bit. And then there is the matter of removing myself from this planet for safety measures as well," said Rimaru. "Why? Aragon is not so bad once you get used to it," said Barbara. "I like this place, and it has gotten a lot peaceful as of lately, and the parks are great, and there are even a lot of new books popping up. What's not to like about the city?" asked Amelius. "That may be enough for you, my dear Amelius, but not for me," said Rimaru. "So tell us what you are planning, if it is not a secret," said Barbara. "I doubt you will get it, but I will try to explain it nonetheless. It is called spectroclonometry, which is different than spectrometry. Now I will explain this," said Rimaru, taking out a laser pointer. Amelia had seen such devices in the court of Mardukes, and they were gimmicks, but nothing to get too excited about, unlike the creation of the never-melting ice cream. The trick was enchanting the cone in order to get the ice cream.
Now I want never-melting ice cream, but I know it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it's magic.
Got it.
The trick was enchanting the ice cream cone in order to get the ice cream at the ideal non-melting temperature. And this allowed you to take your time while eating it, and it kept the cone from getting soggy. So yeah, there you have, they were melting ice cream. Why didn't they have that in the Harry Potter world? It's like super easy with magic. For Amelia, that was the most important technological development in the entire kingdom. Barbara John a little before saying, go on. So where was it? Spectrometry. You use light in order to tell you what type of material it is, and all objects emanate a type of light. And we are glowing because we are made of star stuff, explained Rimaru. And as he did, he asked a man that he molded the clay into nondescript forms, and he continued. That glow takes a while to reach our eyes, and if you get far away enough, you can see into the past. So I am going to go like super far and look into the past, and then using a spectrometer, I will analyze my sweet vampire's light, and then I will make a carbon copy of her, and then everything will be as it once was. Yes, but can you copy the soul? Asked Sativa, who was eavesdropping. He placed his head through the garden window. Ah, yes, the soul. Well, I thought of that, and I have it right here, said Rimaru, getting a little empty jar. That doesn't seem very nice, said Barbara, frowning, and she added, the dead have a right to death. Before Rimaru could say anything else, Amelio had swiftly taken the jar and broken it. And the moment the jar broke, the little soul ascended and gone beyond Rimaru's reach. Rimaru screamed, no, come back! You ungrateful bastard! They opened her soul jar and the soul container, and then the little soul escaped. Come back! Hey, nobody forced you to sit at our table, you selfish prick, said Amelia before taking a bite from his steamed bun. I hate you, said Rimaru, giving a nasty look. Amelia, as a big brother, he was used to dealing with Brad, and he smiling, he said, as fun as the past is, you need to accept that people change and not always for the better. And even if you would have taken your friends from the past, you might have turned out the same regardless of your best effort. There comes a time when you just have to wash your hands on the entire matter. Speaking of washing your hands, did you remember to do that before eating? Asked Barbara. I brought clean hanky, said Rimaru. Ah, well, it's a little too late for that, said Amelius, laughing. There was a silence on the table, and the silence came and took a steam bun before the party, and when it left, Barbara said, well, that was a bit annoying. What is that thing anyway? Asked Amelia. I don't know, said Rimaru. So, like, the silence in the world is like a physical entity that brings silence wherever it goes.
Yeah, but because it was introduced in a different book.
Yeah, in Nalini, which I already read. I don't know, said Rimaru. What a surprise. Mr. I have an answer to everything, doesn't know what it is, said Barbara. There's plenty of unknowns out there, you know, said Rimaru. Are you really going to leave for good this time, asked Amelius? I don't know, said Rimaru. Time?
You still have like 10 minutes.
A day passed and Rimaru had placed his house back on his home lot, and a couple of days later, and he was up and packing again, and he was working his way towards the train, he accidentally bumped into a fellow who was stalking him. And the fellow stalking him went by the name of Lucian Rest, and he was the youngest son of a landlord that had recently become a noble through marriage. And the reality was still a thing in Aragon, and slowly, however, money was becoming the true way of measuring a person's worth. And if you lacked the means to live, you were considered a failure of a human being. And Lucia had grown up in a farm for most of his life, and now that he was expected to act like a noble, he had no idea what to do with himself. And at the age of 27, he felt like a fish out of water inside the mighty city of Aragon. And like Amis, he had become enamored with the idea called Rimaru. And now that he could see Rimaru in the flame, Lucian was beside himself with excitement, and he said, wow, I haven't the words. Can you sign my hat? Rimaru signed and said, sure, I don't see why not. Rimaru signed Lucian's hat before saying, I don't see why this signature is so important to you. You don't see why, but it is you, Rimaru. How can you not see why you're so important, said Lucian, smiling. Rimaru noted the uneven teeth, the blonde mustache, and the curly hair tied with a bow, as was the fashion of the day, and removed the mustache, and Lucian would have had a lovely lady face, and Lucian then added, where are you going? Do you need a gallant escort? Rimaru sighed, and he said, sure, why not, if it pleases you, and I not want to deny the fellow the chance to bask in my so-called glory. Damn straight, said Lucian in agreement, and he added, sorry, I'm getting used to the idea of minding how I speak. I don't mind the way you speak, said Rimaru, but my father minds ever so much, and my stepmother at times I feel as if she is plotting to kill me, said Lucian. Maybe she is. Lady Capalina has already lost 2 husbands. Maybe she plans to add a third to her collection, said Rimaru, sneering. And Lucian stopped before a shop, and he knocked on the wooden part of the wooden pane 3 times with his fist, and afterwards he said, "Don't say things like that." "Well, it would serve your father right, you know. Clearly it is a marriage of convenience, and she's only 18. So it is a clear and cut case of liking someone who's too young for you," said Rimaru. "You sounds like a fake illness if you ask me," said Lucian, continuing his walk with Rimaru. "It is not fake, and there are many men all over the world who suffer from this mania," said Rimaru. "If it is an illness, it must have symptoms," said Lucian, amused. "The symptoms include increased mating and overspending on things of little worth, extreme bouts of jealousy that may lead to homicide, delusions of being loved back, and the extreme neglect of wife and children. And if I were you, I would ask for my inheritance while there is still money to be had," said Rimaru, giving a shrill laughter. "Ha ha, very funny." "My father's not that stupid," said Lucian. "You should have him checked out, and you as well. And I hear that such a mania runs in the family," said Rimaru. And Lucian was not able to reply to this statement, for indeed his grandfather had done the same thing. You know, like marrying somebody like really with like a ridiculously huge age gap. And Lucian did not realize it too, but this chance encounter with Rimaru was getting him into a similar type of mood, and Rimaru was about to continue, but he decided to distance himself from Lucian. And Rimaru said, "Well, here's my stuff, and I will be going to the train station now." And Rimaru then walked and then entered around the nearby shop, and the shop happened to specialize in making dresses, and he walked straight to the shop and he opened the dressing room, and the lady of the shop came to see him what he needed, and the maiden asked, "Can I help you, Rimaru?" "Is that fellow Lucian gone?" asked Rimaru. "He is still outside, looking rather stupid," said the maiden. "If he comes in here looking for me, tell him that I return to my home planet," said Rimaru. "Sure, but you will have to tell him yourself, 'cause he's right behind me," said the maiden, laughing. Time?
6 minutes.
Rimaru opened the door, and he saw that the girl was just messing with him, and she then added, turning rather serious, "Are you going to buy something or not? And the dressing room is only for customers." "Fine, I will buy something, and then will you let me stay here till Lucian leaves?" asked Rimaru. "Sure thing," said the maiden, and Rimaru tried on a bunch of frilly little dresses, and eventually he settled on a lovely red ensemble with the petticoat, laces, and even the bonnet, and the dress had to be modified to account for Rimaru's almost non-existent bust, and since Rimaru had to wait for the changes to be completed, he was once again compelled to stay in Aragon for another day or so. And every time he went to pick up the dress, the lady said to Rimaru, "It is still being made, please come back tomorrow." And after a month of waiting, Rimaru got bored, and he broke into the shop at night, and he found out that the dress had already been done and over with. And the reason why the lady had not given him the dress was because of Lucian. He had paid her to keep Rimaru from leaving Aragon. Time?
6 minutes.
A month passed, and Rimaru had forgotten the very reason he wanted to leave in the first place, and he was still existentially bored, but the company of new games had brought out something that amused him, and as such his entire mind had become occupied with his new toy. And for the next couple of weeks, nobody saw Rimaru leave his home, and one day Apega was also visiting his home, and Apega had a crush on Rimaru's living doll, and Rimaru thought it fun to see an automata and a spirit-possessed doll getting along so well. And one was a product of weird science, and the other one was born of magic, and the little platonic romance could easily be the subject of a different book. And the silly doll was about 25% taller than normal humans, and the slender body was ball-jointed, and her body had plenty of elegant silky pink tattoo paints, and it depicted different little runes and chants. And the face had an anime type of proportions, with small nose and stylized mouth and large expressive eyes. And she had been drawn with a sweet innocent smile. The pink eyes had a lot of little reflective glasses to give them extra shine, and the curly pink hair had been grafted onto her head. And the body of the doll had many different modifications over the years, and the joints could now move better since they were no longer elastic. And Apega's little crush went by the name of Carbine, and she had taken the name from her creator's favorite horse, Carabine. And after her creator's death, she had hid her true nature till she was found out, and during Aragon's cursed item purchase, she was saved by Rimaru, and now she lives as his maid, and over the years the humans of Aragon grew to accept her personhood. And Carbine was no longer considered a saint, and it was common for Rimaru to meet all visitors. Apega had casually engaged Carbine in conversations, and not for reasons he could not process, Apega found himself going to see Carbine more and more often. And that day during one of such meetings, Apega had looked out the window and seen a fellow take a square piece of Rimaru's lawn. And since it was not a typically observed behavior from the folks of Aragon, Apega was forced to comment. Somebody has taken a piece of your lawn. Did you ask for this to happen? Asked Apega, turning to see Rimaru's reaction. Rimaru leaped from his seat and then went on to look out the window, and indeed there was a single piece of grass missing from his yard, and Rimaru had inherited his mother's pettiness, so he immediately ran to look for the thief, and after looking left and right, he saw that there were empty patches in many of the different houses all over the neighborhood.
Phone with Dick and Jane?
No.
Okay.
I don't know. Time, bro?
3 minutes.
He examined the scene of the crime from up close, and then he noticed the direction of the footprint, and after checking out the other prints at the neighbor's house, he guessed that the trajectory that the lawn thieves had been taking. And Rimaru ran a bit of a ways till he found a fellow with a basket filled with stacks of lawn, and at most the man could only carry about 7 at a time, and Rimaru was about to detain him, but he got a bit curious about why the man was stealing lawn of all things.
And I'm curious about that.
The fellow eventually entered a seemingly deserted warehouse, and it was a private property belonging to a distant relative of La Imperia, the largest noble family of society, and Rimaru was about to enter through the window when the front door was opened for him. And the man peered aside and looked at Rimaru a bit before saying, I was expecting you, Rimaru. Hardy had heart. If this is a cry of attention, it is certainly the most unusual, said Rimaru before entering within. And the fellow yawned a bit before saying, I'm not interested in your attention, rather I wanted to know if you remember our work. I had no idea what you're talking about, said Rimaru, for we never met. Not in this life, said the man. Ooh, one of those types of fellows, said Rimaru, sighing. Do you like the work we did? Asked the man. The habitat is nice, but you're only missing the animals, said Rimaru, looking at all of the jars with the grass steps leading higher. And the roofs have been hollowed out to allow for water and light to enter, and there were other key round windows open to allow light to fall on certain habitats at certain times. And Rimaru said, are you poor then? You could have just asked for money if you were doing a scientific venture or something. I do not want to leave a paper trail for our research. It's top secret, said the man. Time, bro?
1 minute, 30 seconds.
Rimaru looked at the fellow from head to toe, and he seemed mundane enough, about 87 centimeters, with wrinkles, balding head, the stout frame from continued mobility, and the clothing was neither rich nor poor, and he sported a beige florid journeyman attire with cargo pants and long sleeves, and the eyes too were nondescript as the man, just black and nothing else. So what species are we raising then? Said Rimaru with bored curiosity. Time, bro?
Less than a minute.
Alright, well, let's see here. Bye-bye and God bless.